Good day everyone. I am John Vincent Samot from Dispet 33. So today I'll be sharing my personal reflections on the article that I read on the Supreme Court case about Christian Cadahas Y Cabias versus the people. So it decided on the November 16, 2021 by the Supreme Court of the Philippines. So as I read the article, so here is my personal reflections and the questions about. So first is the what the case is all about. So this case involves Cabias, which is a 24 years old man who was convicted for the crime of child pornography under the Philippine law. So he was accused of inducing a child, 14 years old child girl to send sexually explicit photos of herself through Facebook or Messenger. So the key legal question was whether its actions amounted to inducements of a child pornography under the Republic Act 9775, which is the Anti-Child Pornography Act, and also the Cybercrime Prevention Act. It said it's whether the evidence used against him was admissible. So second question is what are the facts of the case? So here is my summary of the facts of the case. So first is Christians and the victim referred to as AAA met at the canteen where they work. Also, they started talking on Facebook Messenger and become sweethearts. Also, AAA was only a 14 years old girl, making her a minor under the law. Also, AAA mothers discovered the chats when AA forgot to log out on her phone. Also, the chat showed Christians coaching AAA to send photos of her breast and vagina, which she eventually did. Last is her mother obtained screenshots and filed charges against Christians Cabias. So that's my facts about the case. So next is what are the issues of the case? So here is the issue of the case. So the Supreme Court had to decide on several important legal issues, including that the evidence is admissible. So Christians argued that the screenshots and messages from Facebook Messenger were obtained in violation of his rights to privacy because it was leaked. Second is was the offense proven beyond reasonable doubt? So the prosecution prove all elements of child pornography, especially that the victim was a minor and was induced to create the explicit materials. So last is what penalty is appropriate. So the court considered whether the correct penalty was imposed under the Anti-Child Pornography laws and the Cybercrime Prevention Act. So the fourth question is what is the ruling of the Supreme Court? So as the Supreme Court decided, the petition of review was denied, and the court affirmed the conviction. So the photos and the Facebook messages were admissible in evidence because they were obtained by the uh, private private individual, which is the victim's mother, uh, not by the government. So the constitutional right to privacy against unreasonable searches did not apply in the same way. Also, the court also found that that Christian Cabias induced the minor to produce pornographic images, fulfilling the elements of the crime under the Republic Act 10175 and 9775. So the crime was classified as a malignancy, which is inherently immoral, meaning that the prosecution still had to show Christians intend to induce the act. So they did so based on the conversations and testimony. So as the Supreme Court modified the penalty to reclusion perpetua, the life of imprisonment. So and upheld the fine of 1 million pesos. So that's the ruling of the Supreme Court on the case. So here is my uh, key takeaways or learnings from the case all about. So first is the protection of minors in uh, is paramount. So the case highlights how Philippine court interpret child protection laws, and especially in digital environments like social media, instant messaging. So the law punishes the inducement of persuasion of minors to engage in sexually explicit acts, even if the consent is claimed. So this reflects the policy of protection over punishment. So prioritizing the child welfare over individual assertions of consent. So second is the evidence rule matters. So objective to evidence must be raised and at the proper time in trial. Failing to do so can result in the admissibility of evidence that they may otherwise be controversial, such as private communications found on social media. So this shows the importance of the residual law and the strategy in criminal case. So third is technological context of criminal law. So this case underscores how laws like the Cyber Prevention Act and the Anti-Child Pornography Act adapt to modern forms of technology abuse. It's not just a physical acts that just can be criminal, but digital inducement and exploitation are serious offenses. So last is the legal definitions are critical. So the court develop, delve into whether the minor's consent mattered, and in crimes involving minors, consent is often not legally valid or deter determinative. So the decisions reaffirm that an adult's influence over the minors carries legal consequences. So regardless of the claim, mutual interest. So overall, this case highlights how the Philippine legal system's response to child exploitation over digital platforms. So it reaffirms that inducing minors to send explicit materials is a serious crime, and that this evidence from social media can be validly used in court under certain conditions. And that's all my personal reflections about the articles that I read about. Thank you.